Oh yes, it is that time of the season again. Welcome along to Good Morning Transfers. A new window. We've got a new look show for you as well. This is the place for all the latest transfer news, along with the best analysis and debate, of course. And it looks like we could be in for a busy window too. Could this really be Mo Salah's final season at the club? And Roy Keane gives a damning assessment of Trent Alexander-Arnold's performance. Will he be set for Real Madrid?
We talk about how brilliant Trent is going forward, but Trent's defending today, my goodness, it's like schoolboy stuff. To talk about him going to Real Madrid, the way he's defending, he's going to Tranmere Rovers after this. He's got to do better.
Also this hour, it could be a key month for Marcus Rashford. Just a month ago, he said he was ready for a new challenge. What does this month have in store for him? There's a list of big-name players in the Premier League that can talk to foreign clubs right now, including Kevin De Bruyne. Is his time at the Champions coming to an end? And in around 30 minutes' time, we'll be hearing from Newcastle boss Eddie Howe. Can they keep hold of Alexander Isak? Good morning to you guys. We thought we'd get off with a bang, so we've got some GMT vets in for this first show. It's a good morning, Kwaku Afari Flex, and to Dave Reed as well. You guys ready for a busy month?
Very excited. Normally January can be a little bit quiet, but there's big teams with big needs this month. So hopefully that snowball effects and we have some business done this month. I'm really, really excited. Yeah,
well, listen, hello everyone who's watching, by the way, on the Sky Sports News YouTube channel. And we're going to get things going quite quickly. We're going to get straight into some breaking news because Matheus Cunha is close to finalising a new long-term contract with Wolves. We said last week that talks were underway to tie the attacker down after his impressive performances. Obviously, he's really in demand, isn't he, at the moment? Wolves are also set to sign centre-back Emmanuel Agbadou from Reims, the French side. He's expected to fly in to finalise the move this week. So Wolves making some moves already this early in the January window. We're going to start, though, by talking about Liverpool, of course, after that pulsating game last night at Anfield. Delighted to say that we can speak now live to the former Liverpool striker, Neil Mellor. Hello, Neil. Thanks for joining us. Loads to talk about, particularly, of course, the three key individuals that are out of contract at the end of the month. Let's start with Trent Alexander-Arnold then. Let's get straight into it. What do you reckon? Does he stay or does he go this month?
Good morning. First of all, I was at Anfield yesterday. It was a cracking game. Disappointing from a Liverpool point of view. Certainly not to have won the game, having been in front so late on in the game. Trent, let's talk about Trent. What a player Trent Alexander-Arnold has been for Liverpool. From a very young age, breaking into the team at only 18. He's been magnificent. He's almost redefined the right-back position. He really has been magnificent. He wasn't at his best yesterday. We know that. And with him being out of contract, there's a lot of speculation. Will he stay? Won't he stay? Trent has got a massive decision to make. Now, the media hype, social media, Real Madrid, that's very unsettling at the moment for any player. And no doubt, naturally, I think that would affect him. And maybe that did yesterday, I'm not sure. But certainly this season, up until yesterday, his performance levels have been absolutely magnificent. I think if he does go, I think it'd be the summer rather than January. I really don't see him leaving in January. He's got a title to win for Liverpool. He's got to compete for the Champions League as well, which are two massive trophies, two biggest trophies for any player to win. So a lot of speculation at the moment, and he's been quiet, but the media aren't being quiet, and that's where it can be a little bit unsettling for him.
Yeah, Neil, you mentioned that you think he might go in the summer. What's worse, though, that he goes for free in the summer or you get 20, 30 million for him in January?
I'm saying it's possible he might go. I'm not saying he will go in the summer. I think, of course, it'd be worse if he went in the January transfer window because he's such an important player for Liverpool. You know, there's a lot of games. There's half a Premier League season to go, and Liverpool are very much in that title race. I mentioned already about Europe as well. Liverpool have got a good chance to challenge in that as well. He's in the best league at the moment in the world, the Premier League. He's at one of the biggest clubs in world football in Liverpool. He's challenging for the biggest trophies. He's got no reason to want to leave, certainly at this moment. It could happen in the summer, but it also might change his mind because he's got this big decision to make. Does he stay at Liverpool, where he's been all his life, and become a real legend at the football club, have a real legacy? Or does he try a new challenge, which is the big decision he has to make?
All right, let's move it on to Mo Salah as well, because I feel like we've kind of got some mixed messages from Mo and from various other camps as well. On Friday, said again that this would be his last season for Liverpool. It's not the first time he's said this. What's your gut feeling? Do you think he will be around next season?
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. What a player Mo Salah has been for Liverpool. He's the best player in the Premier League at the moment, arguably the best player in world football. The way he contributes on the football pitch, it's not just scoring goals, it's creating those chances, it's the assists that he gets as well. He's such an important player for Liverpool, he really is. And the desire, the mentality he's had this season, despite all the contract talks going on and will he stay, won't he stay, his levels have maybe increased this season, which is credit to him. I think he's got a burning desire to want to win that Ballon d'Or. You know, he's been close on a couple of occasions. I think that, and I think at Liverpool, one of the biggest clubs in the world, maybe winning the title, maybe winning the Champions League, at a club like that gives him a better chance than maybe where else does he go to at this moment in time? But his levels haven't changed. His comments don't worry me. If anything, it encourages me to think that he wants to stay. He wants to get a deal done. So whilst he's probably been the noisiest out of the three players out of contract so far, it's clear he wants to stay. And I really hope Liverpool can get a deal done because he, fit for Liverpool, can take Liverpool to a title this season.
Yeah, without a doubt. Neil, just hold there for a moment. I'm just going to open this up to the guys in the studio for a second. Flex, will it be an absolute travesty if Liverpool allow Mo Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold to leave for free in the summer?
It's not ideal, and when you think of the players that they are and how good they are in their respective positions, you would like to think that they could sell them for huge fees and then reinvest that into the squad. But there's things called anomalies in football, and when you're talking about Mo Salah, he is one. He's a Premier League great, he's a Liverpool great, and you're talking about the money they paid for him all those years ago compared to what he's given the football club and what he's gone on to be. The sell-on value, it's different. It's almost about trying to keep them. And players, once they've done so much as well, they can also enter into a period of they kind of get to decide what their fate is when they've given so much to the football club. I think Trent is a slightly different feeling for Liverpool fans. Obviously, the emotion and the emotive side is going to be there because he's a lad who's come through the academy. But, you know, Jamie Carragher spoke about this yesterday. They'll be breaking even on Trent because they got him for free,
Yeah.
came through. So if he leaves for nothing now, and he's given them everything, fair enough. They would have liked a fee. They would have potentially have liked him to not get into a situation whereby he has no contract at this time. But I think you have to look at the club for that, rather more so than Trent.
That's what I was going to ask you, Dave, actually. I mean, where does the blame lie here? You know, I mean, there's not just those two either. It's three big players, if you include Van Dijk as well, all out of contract at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other way to say it. It's negligent to let those three contracts get to the point that we're at by now. But you say it's not ideal. I mean, it's more than not ideal. You lose one of those players, it's unthinkable. You lose two of those players, it's unimaginable. You lose all three. I mean, it's Carragher, Henry, hand on the leg. It's a massive rebuild to lose all three of those, isn't it?
The word you use is travesty, and it would be to Liverpool, because think about those three players. They walk into, when you talk about the greatest football clubs in the world, you're talking about Real Madrid. I think those three players walk into Real Madrid starting lineup. Trent obviously heavily linked with that club at right back. They've got an issue at right back in terms of Carvalho's injury and his age. You think about Van Dijk, he walks into any team in the world, and Mo Salah, at the level he's performing still at this age, is a player that walks into any club in the world. So for Liverpool to be in this situation it's unimaginable, like you said. And what has happened with Trent and Van Dijk and Salah, they're ascended to all-time Premier League greats. When you talk about the pantheon of Premier League greats, they are there. And so for Liverpool to be without them next season, it'll be a very, very different looking Liverpool side that I don't know how they'll cope with it.
And forget the Jamie Carragher, Thierry Henry, hand on knee situation. It could be Dave Reed on Flex. It's a must-watch TV of the year, that's for sure. Let's get back to Neil then. Neil, I want to mention Virgil van Dijk as well. Do you think he's the most likely to stay of the three if you had to order them?
Yeah, it certainly looks that way at the moment. I thought Virgil van Dijk was the best player on the pitch yesterday. I thought he was absolutely magnificent. He really was. And, you know, he's reaching levels. He's the oldest out of the three. So you're looking at the three players out of the contracts at the moment. He's 33. But you still look at him and you think, he's a top pro. He really is. His availability, you know, if you look at since that injury he had with Jordan Pickford at Everton a few years back, his availability has been incredible. Played 36 Premier League games last season, only missed 2 through suspension. I think it was almost like 60 games for club and country last season. So he's at an incredible level with that availability. He's a leader. You can see that calmness in his play as well. And I think he helps with the players around him. So whilst he's 33, I watched Gomez, I watched Konate, I've watched Kwanzaa alongside him and think they've all improved as players. And playing alongside one of the best, which is what Virgil van Dijk is, I think he helps that. So I certainly feel as though he's got more years left in him. I hope so. He's been quiet as well. You know, again, it comes back to this. You're playing in the best league, one of the biggest clubs in the world, competing for the biggest trophies. Why would any player want to leave? So I think they would have all assessed it at the start of the season with Jurgen Klopp going, thinking, well, what's going to happen next? Is there going to be a drop-off? Everyone said there's going to be a big drop-off. There's not. Liverpool have still been at those high levels, and that might have influenced their decision to think, do you know what? There's nowhere better to go. I may as well stay, and Virgil would be a great one to keep as well.
Now, Neil, I know you haven't got a crystal ball, but I want you to stick your neck on the line here. Fast forward to February the 3rd. Who do you think is going to still be a Liverpool player, and which of those 3 will not be a Liverpool player, if any?
This February, all 3. Without a doubt in my mind, all 3 will still be here in February because of the fact Liverpool are in a title race. At the start of the season, when the 3 players were out of contract, I was worried. I was thinking, we're going to do well to keep one here. But now the way that Liverpool have been performing, the way they've settled into Arne Slot and what he's all about with his coaching style, I firmly believe 2, if not all 3, will be playing for Liverpool next season. Where else do you want to go?
Love it, love it. I love it. A nice, decisive answer like that. Thanks very much, Neil. We appreciate talking to you this morning.
Cheers, guys.
Well, time now to welcome our latest signing, Manny Brown. He's going to be taking us through every Monday and every Thursday in the morning. You are a Liverpool fan, massive Liverpool fan.
Yes,
so this is the perfect time to get in here.
It is, and it's an awkward time, to be honest.
You look a bit uneasy. You're top of the league. Why are you
because
so
3 of our
uneasy?
best players could be leaving, and I think it's insane that it's gotten to this sort of level. The fact that Salah's come out in the way that he has scares me. Trent, obviously, we saw yesterday, is his head there. Van Dijk, usually quiet, reserved, and he's still kept that way, but who knows what that means?
Exactly. Well, listen, man, it's time to put you through your paces. I'm not going to get away with this now because you're in the studio and it's time to talk Liverpool. Let's start with Virgil van Dijk. How surprised are you that he's in this situation? But is it a positive or negative that we haven't heard too much from him?
I think from seeing him, he's calm and composed, like I said. He is just, it's just his character, really. And when it comes to, like, being important for Liverpool, I think he is that guy that we need to make sure stays. Like Neil said, yesterday, easily near enough the best player on the pitch. So many times Manchester United got towards the box, Van Dijk's there stopping it, and I think he's so difficult to replace. But that silence, what does that mean? He's calm, composed. Does that mean he's staying? I hope so.
How many years do you think he's got left at the top?
I think he's got a good 2-3 years, easily, 2-3 years. And I think you could just see after the injuries come back and he looks more composed than ever. He's playing his best football again. And he just, that central figure, if we lose that, people are going to look at us a little bit differently.
Let's move on to Salah because he's putting up record numbers. He's having the season of all seasons. If he carries on like this could literally be one of the best individual seasons we've seen from a player in the Premier League. But he's talking a lot. He's talking a lot, exactly.
Yeah, he's come out and I've never seen anything like it. I keep saying to my friends, the fact that he's come out, he's stopping for interviews and he's saying, hang on, listen, something's not right here. He's saying that my contract's not been sorted. We're far away. He's being specific as well, which is scary. And I don't think it's a good look for the board. I don't think it's a good look for Liverpool as a whole. And you can see the fans are going to side with him because why not? He's performing well. He's performing at a level where he's taking it up, even though he's aging as well. So that's a big thing. And even like he celebrated yesterday, you can see that he's saying, I'm still the guy. I'm still here. And I can still keep doing this. So he's saying, ball's in your court. And I believe that a lot of Liverpool fans will be with him on that. They're saying, give him what he wants.
It's insane with what's happening with Mo Salah because usually if there's this much noise, you'd maybe look at a dip in performance. Maybe you shouldn't be talking about your contract. Maybe don't say this, don't say that. It's almost like I look at Mo Salah talking like when he doesn't usually. I'm like, he's just having fun. It's like he's enjoying this whole moment of will I, won't I, but my performance levels are still up here.
It's not dropping. And he said, like he said in that interview the other day, he said, like, I'm just enjoying my football. Could be my last season. I want to make the best of it. I want to do the best I can for the team. Obviously, he wants to win the title. But, like I said, he's saying, to the board, ball's in your court. The fans can see it. The performances aren't dropping. And I believe he's got another 2 years at least in him.
All right, let's get on to Trent. This is the one. He's come through the academy. It almost feels like, you know, from the outside looking in, there's a different type of pressure on Trent because he's come through the ranks. But he's achieved an awful lot in such a short space of time. How do you see this one?
The thing is, for Trent, he's a lot different to Salah and Van Dijk because he's a symbol of the city to the fans. The fans don't want to lose that connection. And that's why some fans are turning around to him and saying, hang on, are you really wanting what's best for the club? Because we are... like, if you're going to going for free, does that look good? Similar situations that we've seen with Gerrard when he wanted to leave and stuff, the fans getting on his back. Now Trent's going to feel a lot of that pressure, but he knows that's what comes with being a Scouser. So will he stay, will he go? I heard Gary Neville say that maybe that he's ambitious and wants to go to Real Madrid, maybe wants to try something different. It's sad because I can see that, but I also see if the board are willing to say, hang on, he's a big symbol for this team. He means a lot to the Liverpool fans. Let's tie him down. I think he will want to stay as well.
I'll tell you what I can see. I can see all the Liverpool fans and yourself trembling because you're not sure how this is going to work out. That's what I can see. Yeah. They don't know what's going to happen, Matt, but we're going to have to see how this one pans out. It's going to go on for some time.
Yeah. Oh, leave him alone, Flex. Great to have Manny on board this year. We want to hear from you guys as well this hour. Can Liverpool keep hold of Mo Salah, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Virgil van Dijk? What do you think? Should they let one of them go? How should they prioritise? Get involved on X. Post your views using the hashtag GMT. That is hashtag GMT. We'll go through as many as we can later in the show. Don't forget, you can keep across all the latest information as it happens on our dedicated Transfer Centre blog. You just scan the QR code on your screen right now and it will take you there. Right, OK, let's get to our transfer to keep an eye on in our One to Watch feature, which we're going to be doing regularly this January. That player today is Borussia Dortmund's Donyell Malen. Now, who, Dave, is after Donyell Malen?
It's Aston Villa. They're in talks with Borussia Dortmund over the forward. Sky in Germany, our colleagues in Germany have said that a £13.3 million bid has already been turned down and a second offer is now on the table. Dortmund's sporting director has actually gone on record and said that the player is of important value to them. That's how he phrased it. And it now seems as well, according to our colleagues at Sky in Germany, that the asking price that Dortmund actually want for the player is increasing. So we'll see whether a compromise is made there.
Yeah. I mean, they've got some issues, haven't they, Villa, in defence, but it seems like they also want to address that right side as well.
Yeah, defence has been an issue, but I think they have been looking for a forward player who can play across the front three. I think Malen fits that bill. They wanted a player like that in the summer. They ended up bringing back Jadon Philogene to the club. But as Unai Emery said in his news conference on Friday, he's not made the impact that he wanted and that perhaps he expected. And I think one thing that Villa have lacked a little bit is that explosiveness, that bit of pace in their attack. At times this season, not all the time, but at certain points in the season, their attack has looked a little bit one-dimensional. And the fact that Leon Bailey hasn't reached the levels this season as he did last season, that means they're just missing that player who can add that little bit of extra pace, that little bit of explosiveness, that player that can really carry the ball into the penalty area and take players on 1v1. Malen would fit that.
Yeah, all right. Keep your eyes on Donyell Malen, possibly going to Aston Villa. A quick reminder, we've got Eddie Howe coming up at past, but after the break, we'll discuss all things Manchester United. Flex, he could be in for a tough time, but you know what? He came in with a spring in his step this morning after last night's results, so maybe he'll have a bit of positivity. We'll find out after the break. Welcome back to Good Morning Transfers. So we're going to get straight to our transfer update. And we're going to start with Andreas Pereira Fulham have rejected a bid from the Brazilian club Palmeiras for the midfielder. The offer is worth up to £16.5 million. Ipswich Town have signed Ben Godfrey from Atalanta on loan. He was watching his new side yesterday at Craven Cottage in Ipswich, showing signs of being busy. They've also made an approach to Liverpool to sign the winger Ben Doak on a permanent deal. At the moment, though, they're some way off Liverpool's valuation, and they've got competition. Crystal Palace are also interested in signing him. Two clubs are interested in Manchester City's James McAtee. They're both in Germany, Borussia Dortmund and Bayer Leverkusen. They love snapping up young English talent, don't they? He's entered the final 18 months of his contract. Wolves have agreed a fee of £16.6 million for this guy, the Reims centre-back, Emmanuel Agbadou. He's expected to fly in to finalise the move this week. And finally, Celtic are pursuing a deal for the Arsenal left-back and former Celtic player Kieran Tierney on loan for the rest of the season, but they're also holding talks with his representatives over a pre-contract move in the summer.
OK, let's get to Manchester United. This will be Ruben Amorim's first window since joining the club. We know that United won't be spending frivolously, so the focus is probably going to be on seeing who they can shift this month in order to generate funds for incomings. Now, one of those players that might well end up leaving Manchester United this month is Marcus Rashford. He is one of the most talked about players, Flex, at Manchester United, if not the most talked about player. What can you expect to happen with him this month?
It's a really difficult move. Obviously, Rashford's been out of the squad for some time now. He's had that interview sort of saying he wants a new challenge. He's had a difficult time over the last couple of seasons as well, hasn't looked himself, hasn't been confident. And it's been a really tough time for him on and off the field, it seems. But economically, Dave, for him, he's on a big wage at Manchester United. It's almost like a game of chicken, really, between Ineos and Marcus Rashford's representatives, because what clubs are going to be able to take Marcus Rashford on the wages that he's currently on with the contract he currently has, and how much are Ineos willing to subsidise those wages or make sure they adhere to those wages and that contract for the foreseeable? What does a short-term fix look like for Marcus Rashford versus Manchester United? Do they just want to see what life is like without each other until the end of the season and get a little bit of breathing room so he's playing again and the confidence is there and reevaluate in the summer? How does that help Ruben Amorim now? We need funds now. Manchester United need to get players out of the building potentially before they bring them in. So this is a really difficult situation, and reports have suggested as well that also Marcus Rashford is happy to stay and keep working hard, and things can change around really quickly. But apart from the loan market with maybe an obligation to buy or a really structured deal that can be brought up in the summer, I just cannot see how there is a permanent deal now in January. It's a really difficult move economically for me.
Yep, does feel that way. I'm sure we'll be talking more about Marcus Rashford as the days go on. What about other outgoings, Craig Keogh? Who else could United be able to move on in order to raise some funds potentially?
Look at the faces on screen here, and Flex touched on Manchester United's need to sell before they can bring in players. But the issue with players like Eriksen, players like Lindelof, players like Johnny Evans is that they've only got 6 months left on the contract. You're not going to recoup much money for players who are in their 30s and have only got a few months left on their contract. Casemiro is a player that you could potentially shift. He's got 18 months left on his contract. But we know about the huge wage demands. We know about the quota limit Saudi Arabia. They've reached that in terms of foreign players. So it'd be difficult to shift a player that is earning a lot of money. And you look at Anthony, he's really the one. If you think about the outlay when Anthony came into Manchester United, there's a lot of furore around it. It's safe to say he hasn't lived up to expectation or billing. When Ruben Amorim came in, there was the thought that maybe he could play in the wing-back positions. I often think that wing-backs are full-backs that want more or wingers that need less. I'll put Anthony in that secondary category, but when he's played in those positions, he hasn't shown that he can really fulfil what Amorim needs. So he's a player that maybe if Manchester United are looking to recoup money this window, they could potentially shift him.
And if we're talking about incomings as well, Manny, Ruben Amorim has said that he would like to do something in this window. If he was to do something, what kind of positions should United be looking at?
Well, I think for the formation he likes to play and with the wing-backs, Jamie Carragher highlighted something to do with the wing-backs and them not understanding when to go forward or not being natural in the position going forward. So I think they're going to look mainly at where Dallow's playing right now. It doesn't look natural to him. I think that's ironic because yesterday he did come forward and put in a performance where everyone's going to be like, okay, maybe this could work. But I'd be looking at players like Aït-Nouri. I'd be looking at Kirkes at Bournemouth as well. Those sorts of players could fit into that system and do the job of getting up and down and knowing when to go, when the right time is. So I'd be looking at the fullbacks first of all, and maybe even a striker, because you get chances like Højlund did yesterday. And for big clubs like Manchester United, you need to be able to be finishing those. Fans aren't going to be happy if you're getting into those positions and they're not seeing the results. So a striker could be a place to look at as well.
We have seen United have backed all of the managers that they've hired.
Yeah.
You would expect the same for Ruben Amorim.
You would, especially coming in mid-season into a squad that was not written for this script. It's as simple as that. This is not a squad that was constructed for this formation with these ideologies and these principles from this manager. So to come in at this time, and it's really, really tough to get the players to do something they're completely foreign to doing, you would like to think he'd be back, but we've seen it so many times, Dave, haven't we, with PSR and the financial constraints and where Manchester United find themselves at. It's going to depend on significant outgoings. And Marcus Rashford, of course, is the most significant for that. We have seen reports sort of valuing him around the £40 million mark. Does that happen in January? Like I said, I'm not convinced. Can they sort of get some short-term loans to free up some wage bill to bring in other loans until the end of the season with some obligations to buy or options to buy, etc.? Man United are going to have to be creative. But this man right here, he needs reinforcements badly.
Yeah, delicate situation at Manchester United. We'll see how it progresses this window.
Yeah, delicate situation at Man United. Slightly delicate at Liverpool as well. We want you guys to have your say. Get in touch using the hashtag GMT on X. Let us know what you think about the big three: Virgil van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mo Salah. Will they all be there after the transfer window? Will they be there at the summer? What should Liverpool do? Who should they prioritise? Let us know. Hashtag GMT on X.
Marcus Rashford's uncertain future at Manchester United. The saga of Marcus Rashford and his future at Manchester United has captured the attention of football fans and pundits alike, unfolding like a dramatic plot in the world's most watched sport. Rashford, a Manchester United academy product and one of the club's most recognizable faces, has been at a crossroads with his boyhood club, stirring up a whirlwind of speculation about his next move. Rashford's journey with United has been nothing short of remarkable. From breaking into the first team with a stunning debut against Midtjylland in the Europa League to becoming one of England's brightest stars, his career has seen highs that few could dream of. However, recent seasons have been tumultuous, marked by fluctuating form, off-field controversies, and a strained relationship with the club's management under Erik ten Hag and now Ruben Amorim. The current chapter began with Rashford's exclusion from the squad for the Manchester Derby, a decision by Amorim that was meant to send a message about performance and discipline. This move was not taken lightly by Rashford or the fans, leading to public statements where Rashford acknowledged his readiness for a new challenge. His words, "For me, personally, I think I'm ready for a new challenge and the next steps," have since echoed across the football world, signaling an openness to leaving Old Trafford. The transfer window has thus become a focal point for Rashford's future. Despite signing a lucrative 5-year contract extension in July 2023, the situation has rapidly evolved. Manchester United, dealing with financial considerations under the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules, might see a transfer as a way to balance the books while giving Rashford a fresh start. The club has reportedly been open to offers for Rashford, indicating a willingness to negotiate if the right proposal comes along. Potential destinations for Rashford have been speculated upon extensively. The Saudi Pro League has been mentioned, offering financial packages that few clubs could match, though this move would likely sideline his international career with England. European giants like Barcelona or AC Milan have been floated as possibilities, but the financial logistics of such transfers, given Rashford's high wages, present significant hurdles. Fan sentiment is divided. There's a palpable sadness at the prospect of losing a player who embodies much of what Manchester United stands for, not just in footballing talent but also in his off-field activism, particularly his efforts against child poverty which earned him an MBE. However, there's also an understanding that a change might be beneficial for Rashford's career, potentially reigniting his passion and form in a new environment. Ruben Amorim's management style, focusing on discipline and performance, has placed Rashford at a juncture where he must either adapt and thrive or consider his options elsewhere. The manager's comments post-derby suggested that Rashford still has the opportunity to prove his worth, but the writing on the wall seems clear. Without a significant turnaround, Rashford's days at United could be numbered. As we approach the transfer deadline, the narrative around Rashford's future remains one of the most compelling in football. Will he remain at Manchester United, striving to recapture his best form, or will he embark on a new chapter elsewhere, seeking to redefine his career? The coming weeks will tell, but one thing is sure: Marcus Rashford's story at Manchester United is one of glory, struggle, and now, uncertainty. Whether he leaves or stays, his legacy at the club is already etched in history, but the next chapter could be his most defining yet.